Well, Razorback fans, when teams lose, certain people get the blame. But when teams win, certain people get the credit. So if you're a Razorback fan, where does your blame and credit go? Well, let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon at Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday as we are getting closer to the game weekend. Arkansas UAB in Fayetteville, the first Fayetteville game. And we'll talk a little bit about UAB and some of the comments that some of the players made. But I did find this funny, and it kind of worked out actually perfectly, where some of you had reached out to me and I guess slid into the DMs, if you will, about the percentage of blame that goes around to a team or to the coaching staff or to the players or to whoever whenever a team loses. And I kind of, at first, I was kind of like, that's interesting, I guess. But then as I started to see more of the reaction that came in for Razorback fans after that Oklahoma State loss, it kind of came to my attention. I was like, you know what? There is actually a lot more to this than what I even realize. A lot of people do have that blame and do have that feeling, and they want somebody to point the finger at, but yet it seems like nobody can agree on it. And that's kind of what happens with the chaos that comes from a loss like Oklahoma State, is that you're mad and you want to blame somebody. But the problem is everybody's blaming someone different, or at least casting the blame on someone different. Okay, it's just part of it. But I will say that the other day when we got to hear from a few of the players in their press conference, we got to hear from Andrew Armstrong and Jaquindon Jackson. And, Andrew Armstrong, both players are really good, but Andrew Armstrong, his first game back, had a great game, 10 catches, 162 yards. And, he was kind of asked about the things going wrong and how to make sure that they don't, have the things go wrong again and how they shore them up and all those things. But he had an interesting thing to say about it and dealing with how they feel about the blame and the coaching staff and the players and everything too. Take a listen.
Just making sure that we know what we're doing at that point of time. Like I said, fatigue can kick in at that time. People not thinking as much, and I know a lot of people want to say it's on like coaching, things like that. But I feel like it's on us as players as well, to make sure we're in the right spots. We practice it, we go through what we got to go through. And I feel like us as players need to take more accountability as well when we go out there on the field and have things like that happen.
Yeah, Jaquindon, you were kind of in and out during that series. You have any thoughts on that?
Basically what he said. Fatigue kick in. We just got to know what we're doing.
So to me, hearing that, it was really about the comment that Andrew Armstrong had to say. And that, how he said it, first off, credit to him for taking accountability, responsibility. But also, that to me was where I was at when it came to my frustrations and my anger and my angst after a game like Oklahoma State. It's easy to just point and say, coaching staff, Sam Pittman, which 100% the buck stops with him. He's the head coach. He's ultimately responsible for the wins and losses. It's just how it is. However, that game on Saturday, there was not just one thing of Sam Pittman. Forget anything else. Don't mention any other names. Don't mention any other times or coaches, assistant coaches, players, or anything. Sam Pittman, 100% to blame. I wasn't feeling that way. And trust me, someone who actually came out and was extremely disappointed and extremely frustrated and made it very well known and clear that I was frustrated with Sam Pittman at the end of last season, I'm not afraid to call out what the problems will be or what I believe the problem is. But I also don't want to be unfair to the reality. That game on Saturday, again, not saying Sam Pittman's free of blame, but I do believe the players And the execution of those players is what the biggest problem and the blame needed to go around. And here's why. Nobody's perfect, and the coaching staff wasn't perfect. So I want to make sure to reiterate, I'm not alleviating any blame towards Sam Pittman. But if you look at the game itself and how it played out and how it went and everything, there's a lot of those things that happen that you know that those players are not coached to play that way or to do those things. For instance, the suplex tackle made by Xavier Sori. Travis Williams is not taught him to saying, hey, when you get a guy in this position, you're holding him, suplex him, because that's how you play football and it'll be fine. That's not what he's coached to do. They don't practice suplex tackles in the fall camps. That's just not happening. That was just a mental error there by him. The muff punt. That's not really on to blame to any particular player or really any particular coach or anything. Although it's a collective effort that just needs to be better communicated. Like when you have somebody backing into you and their foot hits you and you kind of back up or whatever, that's a problem. It doesn't need to happen again. It needs to be worked on. But again, Scott Fountain's not out there coaching the guys. Like, all right, when you get in this position and you're about to catch the ball, make sure you're right here in front of him so he can't catch it and ends up being a muff punt. There's a lot of freak accidents that happen in there. And also the same thing with the kicking, which again, I'm not alleviating blame from anybody, but the kickers for Arkansas and the kicker for Arkansas has to make those field goals. They have to. If you want to be at an SEC program and you want to be, I don't care if it's on the road, I don't care if it's your first one or not, you have to make a 44-yard field goal. And you can't miss them twice. So when you're talking about percentages of blame and where to go around, I actually felt like the players were more the blame in this game, in this loss against Oklahoma State, than the coaches. Blame all around, but the players were the problem here. Now, as I've said many times before, luckily for everybody involved, it can be fixed. It can be fixed rapidly. I don't expect Arkansas to struggle much against UAB, which we'll talk about in a second. But overall, it's better. It's better than what it was. It's better where it needs to be. And it's something to where it's not always going to be point the finger at Sam Pittman because he's awful. I want again. I know he's the head coach. I know buck stops with him. But not every game's created equal. Not every loss is created equal. A lot of times it's on the coaches. There were a lot of games last year that was on Sam Pittman, 100%. And this year there will probably be losses, once again, that's on Sam Pittman, 100%. But the players got to make their plays. They got to do their job too, just like everybody else. So let's see how it happens against UAB this weekend, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, folks, fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes or so. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from each and every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this May with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle and choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage your calories, maximize your protein intake, avoid meat, or eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use promo code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your very next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is still active with Factor Meals. We are also brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. We know that when you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. So post your job for free over at LinkedIn.com, because it's not just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively looking for a job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other job-leading sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. So on LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time and resources to hire, but LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to get the process to be easier. They even launched a new feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process easier and quicker. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So this was kind of a funny thing, which if you look at the caption, I guess if we want to call it here on the podcast, you'll notice, hopefully you see that there's going to be a little bit of sarcasm to it, because people I saw were, I wouldn't say making a big deal out of it, but we're bringing it up and mentioning it as far as, oh my goodness, can you believe what was said? Can you believe what happened? Can you believe that this went down? Because Arkansas, as we know, is playing UAB. And UAB is not a good team. They're not a good team at all, just being honest. And they were a team that, Arkansas should roll into and should just roll through. But it's still a team, and you got to take them seriously. And even though Arkansas has not exactly had the most luck when it comes to, beating teams that maybe they should, it's still something that weighs on the minds of Razorback fans. But either way, this was coming from the same press conference that we played with Jaquin Jackson and Andrew Armstrong. I thought it was an interesting thing, but a funny thing, but we'll have some reaction to it, as I'm sure you will too. So take a listen.
Flipping it to this week with UAB on defense, I was wondering what you guys saw out of them. Any of those players jump out to you, or tendencies, things that they like to do?
Was it ready to go play?
Yeah, we really just like this week. We really just trying to focus on things we need to fix.
Yeah, we focus on them, focus on ourselves too. Because like I said, your worst enemy is yourself. So if you do it, you can go out there and play the best game. You can put up 800 yards of offense, have 4 turnovers. They put up 200 yards, and you lose the game because So I feel like we just gotta go out there and focus.
So if you're watching, if you're listening to it, you probably saw that long pause and maybe heard the answer. But if you were watching it, you saw that as soon as it was asked about UAB, they both looked at each other and then looked back and kind of like, what do we say here? What do we say here? And then Quinn was like, we've just been focusing on us. Now, some people saw that and was like, I don't like this at all. They need to be focused on the team. They need to take them very seriously, because that's how you overlook teams and you become a loser when you lose these games. Well, here's the thing, folks. That thing right there, that little comment, that little clip, that only becomes a problem when it becomes a problem. And what I mean by that is that it only becomes an issue is if Arkansas loses this game. Because if they go out there and they dominate UAB and it's not even close, no one's going to reference that clip. No one's going to care about that clip. So that's first. Second off, I don't mind this because you got to look at it in a couple of perspectives. Number one, this was a Tuesday night press conference. I don't know the exact routine of what the team does as far as, studying and film sessions and prepping and all of that. But I would have to think that a lot of the stuff that they're doing to prepare for certain teams is probably later in the week, as far as those film sessions and what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be handling it. So it could have been, and it might have been, something that they just haven't gotten into that point. Or two, and this is probably what's more likely, like Andrew Armstrong said, as well as Jaquin Jackson, they're focusing on them right now because they are the problem. We know that. They are the issue. They are the ones that need the most help and need the most practice and need the most encouragement and need the most reps, them. Because they got a lot of those things to work on, to shore up, and to clean up. So I am fine with them focusing on that because that's the most important thing. But also, maybe because I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, I feel like a few of you that may have had an issue with this is also maybe looking at it not logically. Folks, do you really, really, really think that Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, the guy that you know has been a head coach, the guy that you know is, as we talked about yesterday, one of the great offensive minds, do you think that Bobby is just saying, I'm not even going to care about UAB. We don't even know what they're running. We don't care. We're just going to leave it alone. We'll figure it out. Do you think that that's actually true? Be reasonable. Come on. This is not any sort of negative, and it's not any sort of knock. Again, it's only a problem when it becomes a problem. But to me, I see this, I hear this, and I kind of laugh about it because you can tell, like, I thought their response was great, but it was also it was an honest thing. But somebody I know we talked about on Inside Arkansas Live saying like, oh, just need to be coachable right there. You like just make up an answer or something like that. Which, yeah, okay, cool, you could do that, but I don't know. I like the honesty. I like the approach. I don't think that they need to be coachable as far as like, oh, well, you just got to make up something right there. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? If you win the game, who cares? It's only a problem if it becomes a problem because you lost the game. That's it. So, again, anyone that has an issue with this, man, I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't. How many teams have done this, though? Like, I mean, honestly, people have looked at it as your team, you're better than what you showed. You should be better than what you showed. So just do it and focus on yourself. Because here's the thing, folks, too, with UAB. If Arkansas plays their game right, if Arkansas plays a good game and they have attention to detail and they clean up the mistakes, are they going to win the game? Yes. No question. Even if UAB plays their A++ game but Arkansas plays their A game, Arkansas is going to win. So focusing on them is what's important right now because it's what's cost them. I don't have a problem with it, and neither should you. Just being honest. We'll talk about a little bit of an injury update for the Razorbacks here in just a second, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, folks, we know that you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, and since it's football season and football's continuing on, I mean, we got games tonight. How great is that? Well, since we talk about FanDuel, you got to know that they're America's #1 sportsbook. So we also have a little something different for you because now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season game on Sunday afternoon that's out of market. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all of Sunday on September 15th. Pre-game moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting Thursday on September 12th. Just view your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. Again, it is FanDuel.com. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So a little bit of an injury update, if you will, because Sam Pittman said in his SEC teleconference, Arkansas is going to be banged up in the secondary, man. They don't have a whole lot of guys that are going to be ready and available or even playing much, maybe limited in the secondary. Jalen Braxton, who I think most people would say is the best defensive back for Arkansas, he was limited in week 2. He believe has tendonitis. And his status for this week's game remains in question, as according to InsideArkansas.com. Marquise Robinson, Cuddy, who did not play against Oklahoma State because he had a stinger in pregame, which was really strange and crazy and something you don't want to hear about. But he had that stinger as well as Hudson Clark. The no-fly zone, he was limited in just 8 snaps due to the back injury. But Sam Pittman said he does not anticipate his return this week. So Braxton, apparently they say he has a bone bruise, and they're going to check him out a bit. And he says Hudson Clark's doubtful. And Cuddy, Marquise Robinson, he said he'll be fine, but he's dealing with a stinger. Braxton is probably a wait and see. I'll probably know more about it after practice. To be honest with you, Cuddy will go, and Hudson is very, very doubtful. So it doesn't look like the no-fly zone Hudson Clark's going to be playing in this one. But also looks like Marquise Robinson would be good to go. But here's the thing. Like, it goes back to it. Call it arrogant. Call it overconfident. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to say. Does not matter, because here's the rub. Arkansas, it should not matter who plays among those groups of players. Should not matter. Whoever it is, they should win. They should win. They should win easily. They should win big. This game should be some exercising of demons. Clean up the crap that you had to deal with last week that you screwed up on. Get after it. Get it done. Get it right, and get ready for SEC play, because it's going to be unforgiving. No one's going to feel sorry for you. No one's going to be apologetic to you. No one's going to hold back on you. It's SEC play. So get your mind right. Get your stuff right this weekend. Take care of business and get ready for Auburn on the road. That's all I'm going to say. Appreciate all of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.